of this webinar. I'm grateful for all the guest speakers and especially the mission who has been with us to enlighten us on the market opportunities for handicraft sector in Japan. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to share this thing that this series of webinar has given us a big success. It's my pleasure to share that with the webinars which concluded in China, we have started working on an exhibition in China, inshallah, in May in Shanghai, and we will be taking uh, participants to this new market of China to explore that region of the Chinese market, which was shared by the mission as a trillion market. Today, it's a chance to go into another market, which is a very, very high-end market of Japan. And I have the privilege to serve there for 3 years, and I know about this market that this is really a good market for the high value and producers of handicrafts. With this brief introduction, and I'm very hopeful that today we have a very learned personality, Tahir, with us. So he is going to give us a very, very deep insight into this market. And we are very hopeful that we will also click something very good coming out of this Japanese market, inshallah. With this brief remarks, I welcome again all of you. And now the floor is yours, Ahmed, again.
Thank you very much, sir. So, from the Handicraft Association of Pakistan, we have had very close collaboration on this project. So, to give opening remarks from the Handicraft Association of Pakistan, we have the chairperson of HAP, Ms. Halima Osman. So, I'll request her to please take the floor now. Ma'am, the floor
Assalamualaikum. Assalamualaikum, everyone. I am Halima Osman from Handicraft Association of Pakistan, and I again welcome you all. And I am very thankful to DAP for taking us on board and standing shoulder to shoulder with entrepreneurs for this great webinar series. Actually, COVID has not only brought closer human suffering, but also taken a huge toll on global, regional, national economics. The USD dollar 133 trillion world economy witnessed closure of borders, cities, shutting down of markets, business, tourism, hospitality, industries, and halting of transport and airlines. The outcome of the great lockdown was the size of contraction of world economy and witnessed since the great depression of the 1930s. In these challenging times, I am pleased and I am very grateful to DAP to see their efforts, who despite several odds have endeavored to realize the impact of COVID on the socio-economic development of Pakistan and the whole region. These informative webinars help us a lot and deserve our appreciation and in-depthness. The findings of these sessions also with other countries in the region and beyond in the policy making with regard to addressing challenges posed by COVID-19. Handicrafts are unique expression and represent a cultural, traditional, and heritage of Pakistan. The handicraft industry is one of the important productive sectors of our country. Various attempts have been made to define this broad and diversified industry for the betterment of our economy. Pakistan has a rich and diverse history of handicraft. The entire wealth of timeless Pakistani handicraft has survived through ages. Every city has its own heritage, and Handicraft Association of Pakistan is a registered association of for manufacturers, exporters, women and entrepreneurs, craftsmen, women retailers, and wholesalers associated with the handicraft sector in Pakistan. It is registered with the Director General Trade Association, Ministry of Commerce, Government of Pakistan. Our main objective is to promote the use of current market trends and modern technology in line with the current market practices, whereby ensuring development of export of handicraft to promote, develop and stimulate, protect and encourage handicraft making and trading industry in Pakistan, to develop and convert the informal handicraft sector into a formal industry. I request you all to pay attention and start sessions for awareness, for online sessions, so we can make a good economy boost. And thanking you again to TRIDAP for giving me this platform, this opportunity, and I'm very grateful to TRIDAP and congratulate the whole team of TRIDAP. Thank you, Ji.
Thank you very much, ma'am. So we also have Mr. Fahad Barlas here with us, who is the former chairperson of Handicraft Association of Pakistan, and with whom we basically conceptualized this whole webinar series. So in order to orient the participants here of how to best make use of this opportunity and the fact that we have our trade mission in Tokyo involved, Mr. Fahad Barlas will now, I invite him to speak. So Mr. Barlas, the floor is yours, please.
Assalamualaikum, and thank you very much, Mr. Ahmed Hassan, who's looking after the webinar series. Special thanks to Mr. Shehzad Ahmed Khan, who's Director General at Islamabad TDAP office, Mr. Tahir Chima Saab, who's Trade and Investment Counsel at Tokyo. And I'm even grateful to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Ministry of Commerce together, that for the first time, what we have been witnessing for the last couple of years, that both, the high offices are working together over the trade diplomacy. So we are very, very thankful to the higher offices. I'll be speaking very shortly about the orientation of the Japanese market. I've had a very, brief experience about the market. And if we look into the demography of the Japanese market, it's a very, very matured market. It has an aging population. So, ladies and gentlemen, my very very dear fellow participant, when we talk about Japan, it's a little different from the Chinese market. It's more of, the delicacy oriented. They look into the best things. They have the best buying powers. They have an aging population. So I think more than a quarter of the population is already, above 60 years of age. So when we have this kind of a market, the level of delicacy and demand is very, very high. So it might be, a little less into the turnover compared to the Chinese and other developing countries, but the margins are very, very high. So the Japanese, they love Pakistani wooden handicraft. They love Pakistani, the onyx craft. They love Pakistani furniture. The only demand they have is the finishing has to be, of the A++ standard. So that is the thing which, I just wanted to, mark upon to all my participants. And I wish all of you, a great webinar series, and I wish all my participants to, have a very fruitful beginning of this market. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fahad. So now we will move on to the main crux of our webinar series, and that is basically a brief overview of market opportunities of handicraft sector in the Japanese market. So for this, we have our Trade and Investment Counselor in Japan, Mr. Tahir Habib Chima, and I would request him to please take the floor and brief our participants here about the Japanese market. Sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you so very much, Ahmed, and thank you very much, Sir Shazad, Madam Halima, and Fahad. I would definitely say that Fahad has a very good insight into Japanese handicraft market, because the few things he just mentioned are very, very pertinent and are very important as well. So maybe just to go you through like the basic of how this Japanese handicraft market will look to you, I'll just go through 2 or 3 basic slides, and then we can discuss more in detail. So yes, so yeah, my name is Tahir Chima. I've been serving here as trade and investment counselor for almost last 1 year, and yes, and we have actually got a very good response from the Japanese companies who are already uh, dealing with handicrafts, and not only Pakistani handicraft, but handicrafts from other countries as well. And we have been very actively pursuing our case in a way to not only sustain our position in the market, but also to expand our share. Uh, so for, as Sir Shehzad mentioned in the beginning, that it's a high-end market, and we all know about Japan, it's a high-end thing. But let me also share here that there is another reality to this market, that this market has all the tiers available to you. So I would request all the participants here that they pick up which sector or which stage of the market they want to enter. There are specialty shops dealing with like handicrafts and very high-end things. Then there's a culture of departmental stores here, and here what happens in departmental stores is that every like people go very regularly to these departmental stores. These are like the malls we have in Pakistan. But here what happens is that in every departmental store there is always an exhibition going of a particular product. Maybe in the same departmental store, 1 month there will be an exhibition of carpets, and next month there will be an exhibition of maybe sweatshirts and exhibition of shoes. So these exhibitions are there for like somebody who is making an exhibition in these departmental stores is there for like 2 months exhibition or 3 months exhibition or 6 months exhibition. So it's a long-term exhibition kind of thing. And then even these departmental stores cater to different buying power capacity customers. So depending on which products you have on the display in your exhibition, they invite respective buying power customers. And then there's third one, which I don't want you to ignore, but just keep in mind that there are a lot of shops like these dollar shops, which are called 100 yen shops here. And because we are working very closely with these shops to introduce some of Pakistani products, like we have been successful in introducing Pakistani hand towel to these shops. So the thing, of course, you know that with price there's a giveaway of quantity and price. So if you are going to your product is for specialty shops or high-end shops, of course you will be selling lesser things. There will be less number of things will be demanded, but there will be a huge margin. But if you are producing something which is cheaper and smaller, then if your product clicks one of these 100 yen shops, then their order size is huge. Like it goes in millions of numbers of pieces. So you can now see like where your product actually fits in. Of course, the scope is open. I was just actually noting down these things. So generally, these are the things where actually people have already approached us. Daily use items like tableware, cushions, bag, pouches for mobile phone or something like that, key hangers, keychains, sorry, it's keychains, mugs. Japanese are very particular about their tableware in a way that they prefer clay mugs, clay bowls, and things made of clay. So that is another area where, and then recently some companies have I wouldn't say companies, some stores have contacted us for this lace, if someone makes that lace which goes with the women clothing, and ladies kusas. So these all already have some market in Japan, but we are able to expand it. And then decorate lamps, candle stands, wall hangings, different kind of boxes, and small furniture. In handicrafts, we will only talk about small furniture like stools and tables or some kind of decorative furniture. In Japanese market, your main competitors are like Turkey, Iran, Afghanistan. They have similar kind of things that we sell. Here, I would sadly share that I have seen at some very important display places where even there are like 10 or 12 handicrafts from Afghanistan, like things made of stones and all those are on display, but there's nothing from Pakistan. So we have this, but we can actually help you get to that space if you have an interest in it. Then there are a lot of handicrafts coming from like Vietnam and ASEAN. And here I would tell you that because as we also talked about, Fahad mentioned about aging population. So let me tell you that, of course, the aging population and those old people, they have a demand for very delicate, very high-end, very pricey things. But then there is a trend is changing because these old Japanese, when they were young, even there was a Japanese culture to go for very high-end quality products. But now the young generation, or there's now the international population in Japan, who are more like living in metropolitan cities, they also prefer like decoratives, which are affordable, which might not be very high-end quality or of durability, but of course, they meet some kind of minimum level of standard. And then India, Bangladesh is already here. So in my slides, this is the last slide. So I would talk that this is actually the key. If you want to enter Japanese market in any of the products, and especially if we talk about your handicrafts, quality, color, and details. Just pick one word. This is standardization. If you can just put this one word in your mind. In Japan, they would just go for standardization, that if you have sent them or showed them one thing, the second piece or the third piece or 1 millionth piece should be exactly the same. Even if like it's like minor away from the sample or the model you shared, they would not buy it. But you have to standardize, you like it or not, but you have to standardize your products, especially for Japanese market. So yes, so now I'll be talking. I'm just, let me close this. Yes, so what I can share with you is that in this last 1 year, what I have experienced personally is that we have tried to go to these exhibitions and departmental stores. We have tried to talk to these people who conduct these exhibitions and handicrafts, and they have shown a lot of interest. We have taken some samples to them in different products like of onyx, of salt, things made of like these cushions and rugs and carpets and mats. And so all of our things actually got very good response. But we have also approached those companies and those shops who were selling Pakistani products earlier, but they are no more ordering from Pakistan. And the thing that they have shared with me, which I must share with you, is a feedback, is that again, that standardization. And they took me to their warehouses and they showed me the things they received from Pakistan in the last 2-3 years. And even to my, unfortunately, I was very sad to look at those products because I can give you example of one or two things. Like one thing is that a Japanese company who made an order for 3 container full decorative furniture from Pakistan, including some wooden vases, some small tables, which were supposed to be glaze painted, and the sample showed that it's glaze painted and all that. So our exporter, I don't know why, but our exporter, maybe they were not meeting the timelines or whatever. They, without letting the paint dry, they wrapped all those products in newspapers and used newspapers. And all those 3 containers I have seen in their warehouse are lying there for 3 years. They've already paid the exporter. Every piece of furniture or decorative has a newsprint on it because the paint was wet. So this was just a small thing, like which could have been taken care of. And then that that person said that actually his wife, Japanese lady, liked that thing, and she wanted him to buy that from Pakistan and sell it here. He said that I had started it for my wife. My wife died of cancer 1 year ago. I'm not going to do it again with Pakistan, because we were so sad that when all these containers came and the things were like that. And then again, we try to approach, because what we have been doing in the last 10, 11 months because of Corona, we cannot conduct seminars at the embassy or at different places like where we can get people together. So instead of that, we are approaching all the major business chambers in Japan. We are going to all associations, all retail shops, 100 yen shops, high-end shops, and we are talking to them about Pakistani products. And at one such presentation, I went to one of the places outside Tokyo, and I was talking about Pakistani handicraft, and one of the Japanese lady, she stood up and she said, like, after your presentation, if you can come to my warehouse. And I went to her warehouse, and she showed me, she ordered last year, it's not very old, last year she ordered, she saw on a website, a Pakistani handicraft website, some very small tripod stools with, you know, that we have like these small stools, decorative stools, which have kind of rug tapestry on the top. And she said that I was fine with paying anything they were asking for it, and I never negotiated on price. I made an order, and now my order is here, just look at it. And you know, when I turned that, I flipped that stool upside down. So it was so, like, the wood used under the foam was so bad, like just like the kind of wood we get in the crates, which had tracks, and even some stamps of the crates, fruit crates that used that wood. And of course, she was so sad and disappointed. But luckily, I did not let her decide that she's not going to buy it from Pakistan, because I have convinced her that now this time we'll help her find a better supplier, maybe, so she can get the best things, and because they have a good display and good sales. So if I just sum it up, there's a lot of opportunity for all these things and for all kind of things. The only single request from our side is just standardize your products or send them whatever you show them. That is very important. Japanese are, you know, for handicraft people, I tell you, hopefully Corona will go and you people will get a chance to visit Japan. Japanese people praise little details so much that I believe that any person who has some kind of artistic mindset or background, you will be great when you see Japanese praising your products, because they will even praise the details. You won't think that we're supposed to be praised. Like, they're so much into details. So we can promote your product, which is very high end. We can promote your product, which is maybe for the departmental stores. We can promote your product, which is like maybe very cheap. If you're making, for example, if you're making a 40 rupee leather keychain, or if you're making like a 40 rupee or 50 rupee kind of a pot or a bowl, I just have trust in us. We can bring you market from here for those things, even like from maybe from a 40 rupees product to a 1,000,000 rupees product. But just we have only one demand: that standardize your products, because yes, and maybe I can share two more things with you. And then once you have one Japanese customer who is happy with your product, let me tell you how loyal these customers are. This is my 15th year of service. I'm from custom service. I have worked with so many business transactions. I haven't seen such loyal customers like Japanese are. I can give you an example. This few months ago, a Japanese company who was buying some product from Pakistan, not a handicraft product, some leather product from Pakistan, they came to me and they said that this company we are buying from, they have sent us, but in the first consignment, there was 16% damaged pieces. So we said, okay, maybe that is the first consignment. In the second consignment, there were 10% damaged pieces. So we were happy that they are improving. And now we have given a very big order, and now 40% of the things are damaged in that consignment. So I said, okay, we can help you talk to the exporter and we'll resolve this issue. But then I also, because that's a big brand, not a small company, a big brand Japanese brand buying things from Pakistan. We offered them that, okay, in case you're not satisfied, we can introduce you maybe 3 or 4 more exporters from Pakistan, and you work with them because they will assure you quality and we can guarantee maybe somehow. And the answer was so amazing that company's president told me, he said, no. This Pakistani guy has been working with us for the last 1 year. We don't know. Maybe he has spent his money, maybe he has spent his energies, maybe he has spent his thoughts in producing this product for us. Just make sure that this person makes the best thing for us. We're not going with any other person. And if they need money to improve their manufacturing facility, we are ready to finance, but we are not going with anyone else. Like, this is the kind of loyalty someone is showing. And another thing that I want to share with you is, it's just skipping my mind. So anyways, if it comes back to my mind, I will talk to you, because I want to give more time to you to ask me about this market, ask questions, let me know what things are in your mind, and if you have any experiences with Japan before. Thank you so much, Fahad. You were very, very pertinent. I would say that keep Fahad's tips in mind as well, because if you are making a delicate product, and if you can assure details and standardization, margins are very high even here. So it depends like what kind of product you can sell. Thank you so much, Ahmed.
Thank you very much, sir. So before we move on to the interactive session, we also have Ms. Masuma Siptan here, who works very closely in the handicraft sector. So I would give her the floor to please talk first, and then we can have the interactive session. Ms. Masuma has been with us in this webinar series since the start, and she's chairperson of Women Economic Reforms Committee right now. So, ma'am, the floor is yours.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I will say that I'm really sorry that I'm currently at a very public place. Actually, Tehsil mein us time. Lekin, as I promised to TDAP that I am available, so I am available here. And एक चीज़ मैं यहाँ बहुत कहूँगी कि मैं नहीं सुन सकी पूरी presentation, सर की भी और फाद साहब की भी बात भी. तो I'm really sorry about that. लेकिन एक generally when I talked with rest of the women in Pakistan, तो हमें एक ये वाली perception बहुत आती है कि मेरी अपनी भी इसी तरह से है कि I'm working from last 25 years that Japanese are most loyal person, but they are very difficult market. So मैं ये कहती हूँ कि ये चीज़ हमारे लिए एक challenge भी है, मगर let's accept it. We have excellent guidelines here. When commercial section is there, TDAP is there, association is there, and we can say that many women chamber and the people from all over Pakistan are really interested to work on handicraft sector. So we all give all our efforts कि हम इस initiative को मिलके successful बनाएं, and on the side of women chambers और जो private sector side से हमारी जहाँ आप लोगों को support चाहिए, जिस तरह से भी चाहिए, तो we all are here. लेकिन ये कि इसमें मेरी पहले भी request थी आप लोगों से कि kindly देखें जब हम Japanese market के लिए काम कर रहे हैं, and if we are trained to work for Japanese market, I think we are able to work in any part of the world. क्योंकि जब आप एक इतने ज़बरदस्त और जैसे इन्होंने बताया अभी कि जी they are so much supportive कि जब वो कहते हैं एक ही बिजनेस के साथ काम कर रहे हैं और इसी तरह काम करेंगे, तो ये कितनी बड़ी इंकरेजमेंट है और हमारे लिए ये कितना बड़ा we can say एक फैसिलिटी आ रही है. So my request, एक और चीज़ यहाँ पे जो मैंने पहले भी बात की थी कि काइंडली जब आप इन्हें बात कर रहे होते हैं कमर्शियल सेक्शन से, तो यहाँ से समेडा को और बाकी इंस्टीट्यूशंस को भी लाइक हमें फाइनेंसिंग चाहिए, स्टेट बैंक चाहिए, जिसके लिए ताकि हम वो स्कीम्स बनाएं कि जो जिससे कि ये वुमेन आर गेट मतलब जो भी हमारे बल्कि लोग हैं दे गेट इनकरेज्ड टू वर्क इंटरनेशनली. क्योंकि in last 2 decades we have done a lots of efforts in local businesses or informal business में. So my humble request जो पहले भी आपसे थी कि एक तो हमें इसकी जो है information उसका एक 1-pager एक information की एक tool kit सी हमें बना दें, और दूसरा ये कि let's join hand together and work for the progress of Pakistan. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
अहमद मैं एक बात कर सकता हूँ
Yes, sir, sure.
if you allow me? Yeah. Yeah, मैडम मासूमा, थैंक यू सो मच। आपकी बात से वो मुझे याद आ गई, वो जो एक चीज मैं भूल रहा था, जो मैं एक एग्जांपल देना चाह रहा था। थैंक यू। वो मैं ये एग्जांपल देना चाह रहा था कि एक कोई स्पेसिफिक प्रोडक्ट है जिसका एक पाकिस्तानी एक्सपोर्टर है, नॉट अ हैंडीक्राफ्ट प्रोडक्ट, सम अदर प्रोडक्ट, और वो उस प्रोडक्ट को पाकिस्तान से, वो जितनी उनकी टोटल कैपेसिटी ऑफ मैन्युफैक्चरिंग है, दैट 97% ऑफ दैट गोज टू यूरोप and 3% was coming to Japan at some time, maybe 5-6 years ago. उसके बाद 3-4 साल पहले जापान ने उस चीज के ऊपर पाकिस्तान के लिए बैन लगा दिया और पाकिस्तान के लिए प्रोडक्ट बंद हो गई। लास्ट ईयर जब मैं यहाँ आया तो that company actually asked me that if I can help them in lifting that ban by Japanese government so that they can start exporting it again to Japan. And when I look at the profile, it was like 97% they were already selling to Europe. I said, why don't you just sell this 3% to Europe as well and just stay calm? Why are you just for the last 4 years pushing Japanese and investing more on your storage capacity and your processing plant and everything? That person told me, he said that, this 3% that we sell in Japan, even though we sell it on lower margins as compared to the margins we get in Europe, this 3% gives us this branding strength that wherever in the world we go, and we just tell people that some Japanese companies buying from us, they don't ask more questions and they just buy it. Because they believe that if some Japanese is buying, that means the thing must be of very high standard. So again, as Madam was mentioning, that you have like this thing also comes from Japanese buyers. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. So I will now move on to our first participant who has asked this question. So I'll give the floor to them. This is Ms. Zehra Shalwani. So I'm unmuting you. You may ask your question now, please.
Thank you so much, Ahmed Hassan. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. मुझे ताहिर शीमा से एक सवाल पूछना था। एक्चुअली मैंने अपना पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन जो है वो लंदन से किया है, और वहाँ पे हम जब ब्रांडेड कपड़े खरीदने जाते थे तो देयर आर अ लॉट ऑफ पाकिस्तानीज हु वर्क देयर, और उन्होंने मुझे हमेशा से एक बात बताई थी कि ऑल्दो मोस्ट ऑफ द क्लोथ्स दैट यू सी हियर कम फ्रॉम पाकिस्तान, लेकिन आप हमेशा उसमें जो लेबल देखेंगी वो इंडिया या बांग्लादेश का होगा, because customers do not want to buy products from Pakistan. तो अब आप मुझे ये बताएं कि मेरा जो प्रोडक्ट है, मैं बेसिकली सिंध से हूँ, एंड मैंने जो अपना काम स्टार्ट किया है वो सिंधी क्विल्स पे है, रलीस पे मेरा काम है। अब मैं तो चाहूंगी कि मैं उसकी ब्रांडिंग इस तरह से करूं कि उस पर मेड इन पाकिस्तान ही लिखा हुआ हो, लेकिन मुझे ये बताएं कि वुड जापानीज पीपल हैव दैट ट्रस्ट टू बाय माय प्रोडक्ट, या उनका भी ब्रिटिश और यूरोपियन मार्केट जैसा होगा कि अगर मेड इन बांग्लादेश या मेड इन इंडिया लिखा हुआ है तो हम खरीदेंगे जनाब, वरना हम नहीं लेंगे। और दूसरा मैं आपसे ये पूछना चाहूंगी कि एज समवन हु इज वेरी न्यू टू दिस बिजनेस, हाउ डू आई गो अबाउट इट? मतलब कमिंग फ्रॉम योर एक्सपर्ट, like I would encourage if you would, give us some expert opinion on, how to go about this entire thing, because honesty and standardization is something that I'm willing to completely, go into. ठीक है, लेकिन मुझे ये भी जानना है कि इसका scope क्या है in the Japanese market. Thank you. Right. That's about it.
Okay, thank you, madam. Number one, your first question. I think this is some kind of I would say a wrong perception about the international markets you're making in your mind. Please don't do that. If I only talk, I can talk about other countries as well, but if I only talk about Japan, there won't be any kind of discrimination on the basis of where the product is coming from. The only issue could be, or is that that is of the price a company gets of a product from Pakistan. For example, Japan has a free trade agreement with India. Bangladesh is enjoying LDC status, and we don't have a trade agreement with Japan. So if you are selling a product which involves any kind of tariff like custom duties, and it is coming, the same thing is coming from India, and same thing is coming from Bangladesh, and same thing is coming from Pakistan. So for a buyer, Pakistani product is a little more expensive because there are taxes involved. But as far as origin is concerned, this issue is not there. Number two, you talked about rallies. We have already shown rally, like I brought a sample of rally when I came last year here, and I've showed that sample to many Japanese companies stores here, and they're very much interested in that. And we would be very happy if you can send us more details on your product. And that also answers your second question, that our office can support you. We can introduce you to these Japanese companies, but again, we request it to everyone that just be very, very professional with them. And Japanese are, again, let me tell you, there is another misconception that Japanese are very closed. People generally think that they are very closed people. It's not like that. Once you gain a little trust, they become very good friends. They understand you. They give you space. So your product has a market here. Let me tell you. Give us more details. We'll be very happy to introduce you to some companies here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We have Mr. Fahad Barlas who has a question, so I will ask him to please take the floor.
Thank you, Ahmed Saab. वैसे तो मैंने already Cheema Saab को I already wrote the question so that others can have the chance as well. I just wanted to have the similar question as Madam Masooma and Zahra had. Like, we would like to know about the regulations about the imports in Japan regarding the handicraft product. So since it's an OECD country, so they normally have a little relaxed regime on the handicrafts, as we see in the Western Europe and the North America. Secondly, I'd like to know, are there any NTBs, the non-tariff barriers, which our exporter might face? And we shall also like to have a little orientation about the gems and jewelry market in Japan, because that falls into our segment as well. And also about the leather products as well, because, partially the leather products are handcrafted or so we do have a large pool of members from the leather sector as well. Thank you very much, Ji.
Okay, thank you, Fahad. Number one, that you talked about the kind of treatment handicrafts get in Japan, not very harsh. Again, like all other developed countries, there are no NTBs, but let me tell you one thing. In Japan, for every, again, I would refer to it because I have a background of customs, so I have been dealing on the port, so maybe I can give you a little better insight in this. In Japan, what I've seen is that for every sector and for every product, there is a preset format or formula given by those respective ministries or departments or whosoever deals with that product. If you just follow their steps, like if it is like A, B, C, you follow A and then B and then C, you will be fine. Nobody's going to ask you questions. The issues what I have seen with people is that they go from A to C, and then from C they come to B, and then so if that happens, then Japanese they won't understand it. So I have seen their custom clearance here in Japan. It's not like the custom clearance I've seen in places like Canada or Europe, because even last week we got a container full of, we wanted some new products from Pakistan, like marble, some metal products, some wood products to introduce, because maybe I should share this with you as well, because this is not directly related with handicrafts, but indirectly. An idea came to our mind that we should introduce Pakistani products which are used in construction sector, like marble, granite, wrought iron products like gates or staircase and railings, and furniture, as in full wood furniture from Gujarat. So we asked some person here in Japan, and he was very happy to agree to our proposal that he was building a new house, a very beautiful house at a very beautiful place. We said that you use Pakistani granite and marble, we'll get you. You decorate your house with Pakistani furniture, we'll get you. You use Pakistani wrought iron things in your house, and leave your house to us as a model house for 6 months. And we'll show it to other Japanese companies who will actually physically see that marble, that granite, that iron, that wood from Pakistan. And then that's how we're going to promote that. So last week, that container came with all those stuff. And one issue that I faced was that that furniture exporter, when he put his furniture in the container, they wrote Shisham wood. And interestingly, Shisham comes in like things in the world, natural things in the world who are getting extinguished. So that actually brought us an issue because custom authorities said that we cannot clear shisham wood furniture. And so there are no NTBs. All I did was we just changed the custom clearance port, and it was cleared. And I requested them that I told them that maybe they said it's shisham wood because it looks like shisham wood, or it has a finish like shisham wood, but it was very easy. It wasn't tough at all. So there are no NTBs. Yes, gems and jewelry, there's a market. Actually, TDEP's office in Islamabad is already working with us for an exhibition for gems and jewelry this coming spring in Tokyo. So if you're interested, you can contact them. You can send us your details. There is a gems and jewelry market here in Tokyo, which is mostly crowded by Indian sellers, but we can introduce you to some Japanese people. And yes, leather market. A lot of leather products were coming from Pakistan to Japan. Then due to duty and tariffs, the quantity went down. But again, we are prepared, even like leather shoes, belts, bags. This year, there were no exhibitions in the spring, but next year, if we have a lot of Pakistani leather product manufacturers who are interested to exhibit in Japan. Yes, there is a market for that.
Thank you, sir. So we have Ms. Vinesh now who has a question, so I'll give the floor to her.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
हाँ जी, okay, Tahir साहब, thank you so much. आपकी काफी informative है session. मुझे सिर्फ ये question पता करना है. I'm Vinesh. I am actually exporter of Himalayan pink salt. और हम लोगों की कमोडिटी काफ़ी इंटरेस्ट ग्रैब करते हैं क्लाइंट्स का ऑल ओवर. तो एज फार एज जापान मार्केट इज़ कंसर्न, आई वांटेड टू नो कि वहाँ के क्वालिटी की तो आपने बात कर ली. व्हाट अबाउट द क्वारंटाइन इश्यूज जो उनकी कस्टम अथॉरिटीज़ के हैं, बिकॉज आई एम वर्किंग विद China in that very particular context, और उनके जो क्वारंटाइन डिपार्टमेंट है, it's really giving us a very tough time and we are working on that. तो आप मुझे ये बताएंगे कि जापान के क्वारंटाइन के जो प्रोटोकॉल्स वगैरह हैं बिफोर सेंडिंग एनीथिंग टू देम, तो उसके बारे में आप थोड़ा सा ब्रीफ करेंगे. और सेकेंडली ये है कि बिकॉज विद द पैसेज ऑफ टाइम जितनी भी ट्रेड है, ग्लोबल ट्रेड, दे आर गेटिंग इनटू डिजिटल मार्केटिंग. तो उसके हवाले से जापान में डिजिटल जो वेबसाइट्स हैं जो मार्केटिंग की हैं, वो कौन सी ऐसी फेमस है जिनको हम लोग अप्रोच कर सकते हैं और जिस पे हम लोग वर्किंग कर सकते हैं. थैंक यू सो मच.
Thank you, madam. Again, quarantine, of course, there are requirements. जिस तरह मैंने अभी आपसे बात की थी कि जो भी concerned ministry या department है, उसने जो भी एक set format बनाया है for any product. If you follow that, just make sure that you are able to tell them that whatever you said, which are very simple and they're very disclosed. So there are no hidden things like that. China is different. Japan is a little different in this because in Japan, they work very professionally and very ethically. They won't just twist your arm for anything. So उसमें वो है, उसमें आपकी अपनी, अब जैसे आपने salt की बात की, तो salt में सिर्फ जो edible salt है, उसके लिए requirements है. बाकी जो salt की products हैं, जिस तरह आती हैं या lamps आते हैं या restaurants में use होती हैं. I'm sorry, I switched to Urdu. I don't know if you have like any participants who are from Japan. I don't know. So anyway, so for all those things, they are coming to Japan. Salt products. We are, few months ago we found a very high demand of animal licking salt here in Japan, and we have been talking to, and in the last 2 months, we got samples from many Pakistani companies. And in January, we are going to invite Japan Agriculture Association, and we are going to show those samples to them. We have prices, we have samples, so it's not difficult. So quarantine, especially, there are standards for edible salt, but not for other kind of salt. So if you want to send edible salt, you have to follow that standard. And once you have followed that standard, it's not going to be an issue. Number two, yes, there's a huge, big digital market. Amazon Japan is there, and then there is Rakuten, Rakuten, which is local Japanese marketplace, which is like huge, very huge. So you can approach Rakuten, you can approach Amazon Japan. And you can partner with someone who is locally available in Japan, who can open account on Amazon Japan or have an account on Rakuten. If we receive any such request from our handicraft exporters from Pakistan, we can work on something like that. That we can channelize you to these two platforms somehow. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We have Mr. Anas Ali now. I'll ask him to please ask his question.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much, Sir Tahir, Ma'am Masuma, and everyone else. It was really informative. So I'm Anas, and I'm a leather craftsman myself, and also in furniture business. So we've been. So my question is that we've been manufacturing furniture pieces of totally abstract looks. We use a wood bending technique, right? And they're all abstract. So every single piece is totally different from the previous one. So how, like, in general, I get the idea of standardization, but when something is of totally, artistic in nature, so how would the concept of standardization fit in? Maybe Sir Tahir can guide us on that. So because I'm big on Japanese market, and I definitely want to meet those quality standards in terms of leather craft. But in terms of furniture, I was a little confused. So I thought maybe I just asked for a little clarification. Thank you.
Thank you for asking that, Anas. That's very okay, because even if you must have seen like the Japanese furniture or handicrafts itself, like they are very different, they're very abstract, and they like this abstractness of things. But again, for those kind of products, standardization will come when you judge quality of something. For example, if you are sending one piece of furniture with a particular finish, as in like paint or quality or the smoothness of edges, or so these things will matter. It won't matter that if it looks like the same, like they have like exact dimensions, but the kind of quality, like if it is crackless, maybe the other piece should also crackless. If it's like one piece is properly laminated from the underneath, the other piece should also be properly laminated from the underneath. So these are the things. That's how you standardize your product. It's not like you just copy the design. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
We have Ms. Sadaf Khalid now, so I'll give her the floor.
Yeah, hello, can you hear me? Yeah, my question to Tahir Cheema is, if I want to export leather products, say export leather products to Japan, I know there's a huge competition with other big brands. So what's the potential of that, and how can we connect to Mr. Tahir Cheema, the exports, all that they're asking questions, because we need to use the right channel, and digital platforms are available. But eBay and all their big players, Amazon, for startups and other entrepreneurs in Pakistan, how to export them through the digital platform that we already have? That is my question. Yes, thank you.
Okay, madam. Of course, there is, as I told you, that it will depend on which segment of the market you want to cater with your products. So you let us know that you like which segment your product is for, and then we can give you a particular advice on that. And for the online platforms, as I just mentioned, answering another question, was that there are local digital platforms as well in Japan, which are not eBay or stuff like that, but Rakuten and Amazon Japan. So in that case, if you have like products which, because for online or digital sale, you must have, it's a lot better knowing that if your production base is by, it's a lot better that your stocks are in the destination country. So if your product clicks to any of the buyers here locally, that's what I offered earlier as well, then what we can request is that we can request the buyer to maybe import 1 or 2 container load from you and stock it here and then put it on the digital platform to sell. So that's how you can enter and establish your brand. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. We have Mr. Awais Ayub, so I will ask him to please ask his question. Mr. Awais? Okay, so I
And I'm
move.
sorry,
Yes,
a lot
sir?
of you are writing questions in chat. I cannot follow chat right now. Maybe if at the end I can get a log of the chat, maybe I'll be able to
Yes,
respond.
sir, I'll definitely share the log with you. So we have Ms. Anam Qazi. So
Thank you.
I'll request her to please ask her question now.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. This is Anam Qazi. I'm heading Abirsa Home, and I'm the convener for Handicraft Committee at Lahore Chamber of Commerce and Industry from past 4 years. My question to you is there any potential for hand embroidered textiles or accessories? And second question would be, what about pottery items? Because everything which is handmade, यहाँ पे एक सिंपल कॉन्सेप्ट है कि दिस इज हैंडमेड, दैट्स व्हाई ये इतना प्रिसाइज नहीं हो सकता अपनी डायमेंशंस में और अपनी सारी चीज़ों में. तो उसके ऊपर आप हमें थोड़ा सा गाइड कर सकते हैं कि पॉटरी का क्या पोटेंशियल है. आई एम श्योर कि दे लव क्ले से बनी हुई चीज़ें, बट हमारी पॉटरी में अनफॉर्चुनेटली उतनी प्रिसीजन नहीं आती बिकॉज दे आर हैंडमेड नॉट मशीन मेड. तो उसके ऊपर आप हमें थोड़ा सा गाइड कर सकते हैं अगर, तो आई विल बी वेरी थैंकफुल. थैंक यू.
Thank you, madam. जहाँ तक आपने hand embroidered चीजों की बात की, तो yes, there is a market for that. Rather, we are, because I told you that in textile we have this disadvantage of tariffs as compared to India and Bangladesh. So what we are trying is that we are trying to reach this niche of design and artistic textiles, where such products can be introduced and are being introduced. Like if you work with any of the designer brands here, they would be happy to take those things, like those embroidery, hand embroidered stuff. Pottery, yes, we understand pottery be standardized again form that because somebody's handprints are going to be there or thumbprints are going to be there. So, but again, as I answered Anas, that the quality should remain the same. Like, and for example, if you have dried one pot at a specific temperature, maybe you should dry the other pot at the same specific temperature so that their form stays the same. It's not about the curves. So, and yes, they hand like this hand. I would say that this pottery, which is displaying that it is handmade, as it shows your fingerprints, is very popular here, and Japanese would love that. But again, if you're, for example, if you make like a set of 6 small teacup, tea is something very religious and spiritual here in Japan. Every house has a tea ceremony every afternoon. Tea is like something very, very particular. It's not like the tea we have like all day. They have it like once or twice as a ceremony of tea. So the pots they use for tea are like, they would tell you whole history of 1 cup if you sit with them to have tea. So you can, if you are into this sector, you can target that market. But again, if you are producing like 4 or 6 cups, so you should have this capacity that you can produce maybe 20,000 such sets. So maybe they're not very same, but maybe you can produce 10 or 20,000 such sets. So that's how you standardize such handmade products. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We have Ms. Masuma Siptan who has a question, so I'll give her the floor.
Ji, excuse me, I've just listened to everyone, really insightful. Or seriously speaking, कि मेरा अपना दिल कर रहा है कि I should be focused on Japanese market too. Achha, one more thing, in participants, even I have seen lots of TDAP participation and the participants from all over Pakistan from different departments, that if we all jointly focus on geographical indicators and we can promote and save our craft in that manner. So my humble request to all the organizations, associations, departments, let's sit together and focus on it and let's promote, because if blue pottery is it is from Multan and it is registered in Multan, and it is when it is exported to anywhere and through the geographical indicators, it is a best way to promote things, and I think get cash too. So it's just a suggestion, and I hope we all should be focusing it too. Thank you.
I think it's a very good idea because, like, of course, blue pottery, and if we were talking about Raleigh, if that gets registered with like Hyderabad or wherever, Thatta, and so it's a very good idea. And again, with handicrafts, your buyer is more interested in knowing the history of the product. So because if you are talking about high-end handicrafts, so they would be, it's very interesting. Maybe at some level I can send it to TDAP, and TDAP can share with all of you. I can send you pictures of the packaging of handicrafts you generally get in Japan. So there's so much history written about if you're just buying a small cup, maybe in a box. So there would be a whole booklet talking about that cup and like history of 100 years or 200 years or thousands of years. So that is very important if we can get, and we also have like this now GI regulation in Pakistan. So maybe yes, on the level of TDAP, we can work on it. Yes. Thank you.
Yes, sir. So we have Ms. Munawwara Sultana now. So I'll ask her to please ask her question.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. I'm Munawwara Sultana from Nawabshah, and I do the hand printing, like Ajrak printing. I'm reviving that. I would like to suggest to TDAP and Mr. Tahir Cheema Saad कि आप लोग जिस तरह शंघाई में एक मिल के एग्जीबिशन कर रहे हैं, why don't you people do it in Japan too? Because I have been to China 5 times with TDAP in these exhibition, but I can't go to Japan because the Japanese exhibitions are so expensive that even if we get the half of it, like we women entrepreneurs do get half subsidy, we can't afford it. So why don't you commercial level, commercial consulars arrange an exhibition and invite us so we can bring our products and we can do the market research over there? Thank you.
Thank you. Of course, TDAP will take it up and they will see how we can do it. But I can just make one comment on this, that recently, in the past 4 or 5 months, the exhibition model in Japan has changed to hybrid, where what they're doing is that because of this travel restrictions and you don't know like when everything gets to normal. So what they're saying is that you send samples physically to Japan and they will be displayed physically for Japanese customers to look at, and you will be put online along with your products like in Zoom, and you talk to your people who want to. So if you are, because what we have experienced the last 2-3 months, that whenever we send this suggestion to Pakistani different sectors, big sectors, they all backed out from hybrid model. And believe you me, I have been to all these hybrid model exhibitions here in Tokyo, and almost all countries were there, and we were leaving our space because we wanted to be physically present in Tokyo. So if you're not physically present, of course that would be very good. In, as you mentioned, maybe in the previous years, it was like a financial thing, but now in future, so there will be opportunity for hybrid participation as well in the exhibitions. So just keep that in mind. But we'll be very happy to host an exhibition here at the embassy, or we can arrange that. But again, with us, there are no budgets to cover travel or lodging, but TDAP can look at it maybe. Yeah.
Yes, sir, we will definitely look into this very pertinent suggestion. So we have Mr. Fahad Balas, so I will ask him to please take the floor.
Ahmed Saab again. Actually, last year we had a tagline for our Handicraft Association. We think like, if we portray our country as a,
Sorry,
as a
Fahad,
tourist plus.
Fahad, can you say that again? Your voice is breaking. Yeah.
Yeah, let me repeat, sir. So last year we provided a tagline to our Handicraft Association in which we were promoting the craft and tourism together. So whenever we, look into those lucrative manufacturing countries like Egypt, Morocco, Thailand, Turkey, all of these countries, they are actually the direct competitors of Pakistan in handicrafts. So the difference we have among these countries and us that we don't have an inbound tourism coming into our country. So that's why our positioning of the craft is not as strong as compared to these countries. So how do you think, like, how do the Japanese think of touring Pakistan? And also we do have a lot of Buddhist sites. Japanese are Buddhists, so we have the Gandhara civilization in the northern Punjab and KP. And also I'd like to, highlight another good development that Punjab small is about to establish a stone craft village in Texila. In which they're gonna have, the Buddha statue manufacturing in a smaller level, and they're trying to, fund the old. The old age artisans who can, come into a commercial venture, maybe by the tourists and all these things. So I just want to have your opinion on that, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Fahad. Yes, definitely. Japanese actually want and would love to visit Pakistan, but their government has some kind of travel advisory for tourism to some places. But this year there were like 400 Japanese who got visas from us as tourists who wanted to go to Pakistan, but then due to Corona they could not, because especially they love to go to Gilgit, Hunza for cherry blossom, and cherry blossom is also some kind of has a religious feeling for Japanese. And as you mentioned about Texila, that is going to be very amazing because they always talk about Texila. And especially for the participants from Sindh in this webinar, let me tell you something which I didn't know. Every Japanese knows about Mohenjo-daro, because Mohenjo-daro is taught in their primary school curriculum. So if you talk to any Japanese, they would talk about Mohenjo-daro and they would love to go to Mohenjo-daro. So Mohenjo-daro, Harappa, Texila, and there are some Japanese, if you go and just talk to them, they would just keep talking about our Indus Valley civilization and everything. So Japanese are very much interested, but then there are different kind of good or bad travel restrictions always. So we were trying with the government to reduce that strictness of travel advisory. They were agreeing to it, but then due to Corona, everything just went off. Maybe we'll start it again next year. But yes, that is good. But again, what my approach to business promotion is that the things that we see that will take like a year or 2 or 3, we should not wait. We should keep working towards that. But again, we should find like some alternate innovative ways of right away getting into the market.
Thank you, sir. We have Ms. Fawzia Qazi, so I'll give her the floor.
Ji, Assalamu alaikum, Cheema Sahab or Ahmed. Thank you for having such an informative or very beneficial session. I'm Chairperson, Women's Standing Committee, Rawalpindi Chamber of Commerce, and at the same time, I'm also executive member of Hunza Chamber of Commerce, as Cheema Sahab talked about Hunza Chamber. So my question is, like, there is a local NGO who has, capacitated 5 to 6 women associations who are working on handicraft and handmade carpets. So basically, those have been trained at a वो international standard को सामने रखते हुए उनको training दी गई थी. But कुछ अरसे तक जब तक वो NGO उनके साथ थी, till that time they were fine. I mean, things were going on और वो चीजें इनकी बिक रही थी. But now जब NGOs ने retreat किया, of course it was a project. तो उसके बाद ये हुआ कि now they are like they don't have a market where they can market their products. So in that sense, we from the Hunza Chamber of Commerce platform, we want to facilitate them, or इस वाले से चीमा साहब हम क्या गाइडलाइन दे सकते हैं, तो वो सर काइंडली बताइए ताकि हम उनको आपसे कनेक्ट कर सकें. एंड ऑफ कोर्स एक्सपोर्ट की बात होती है तो उसमें स्टैंडर्डाइजेशन और ये सारा जो प्रोटोकॉल्स है उनको देखना इम्पोर्टेंट होता है, और जाहिर है एक क्वांटिटी भी चाहिए होती है, तो उस हिसाब से हैंडमेड चीज़ें सर, और वो इनको हमने आगे करना है. तो दैट वाज माय इंटरेस्ट, और ये क्वेश्चन इसीलिए मैं रेज कर रही हूँ. थैंक यू.
थैंक यू मैडम काजी. डेफिनेटली आप हमें उनसे कनेक्ट कर सकते हैं. वी विल वंस वी हैव डिटेल्स ऑन देयर प्रोडक्ट्स. इस तरह की चीज़ों को हम ये कर सकते हैं कि देयर इज समथिंग आई एम वर्किंग ऑन, जिसमें मैं ये कोशिश कर रहा हूँ कि एक पाकिस्तान के नाम से मैं एक डिस्प्ले सेंटर बनाने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ. फ्यू मंथ्स अगो मैं एक इंडस्ट्रियल विजिट के लिए किसी शहर में गया था, यहाँ से काफ़ी दूर 6-7 घंटे की ड्राइव पे. वहाँ मैंने देखा कि वो जापानी शहर है बिल्कुल एक साइड पे, और जिस तरह वो सारा फार्मर्स का विलेज है और सारा कुछ, और उसके दरमियान में बिल्कुल एक ऐसी बिल्डिंग है जो आपको लगता है कि आप इस्तांबुल में आ गए. सो आई वेंट टू दैट बिल्डिंग, एंड दैट बिल्डिंग इज मॉडल डिस्प्ले ऑफ टर्की, और उसमें उन्होंने सारी टर्किश हैंडीक्राफ्ट्स रखी हुई हैं. बेशक वो कम बिकती हैं या ज़्यादा बिकती हैं जैसे भी, लेकिन सम टर्क्स हु आर इन जापान वेरी वेल एस्टेब्लिश्ड, उन्होंने उसको सपोर्ट किया उस सेंटर को, क्योंकि जो एक्सपोर्टर है वो तो शायद उस जगह का किराया नहीं दे सकता या उसको मेंटेन नहीं कर सकता, बट दैट टर्किश कम्युनिटी इज हैज बीन सपोर्टिंग दैट, और उसमें वो जो भी टर्की से आती हैं वो हैंडीक्राफ्ट रखते हैं, वेरी वेरी वेल डन. सो आई हैव बीन ट्राइंग टू टॉक टू सम जो यहाँ के जहाँ अच्छे पाकिस्तानी बिजनेसमैन हैं जिनके पास जो अफोर्ड कर सकते हैं ऐसी चीज़ों को प्रमोट करने और सपोर्ट करने में. आई एम ट्राइंग टू एस्टैब्लिश अ पाकिस्तान डिस्प्ले समवेयर कि जहाँ जो हमारे इस तरह के, जैसा आपने मेंशन किया हुंजा का या और भी जगहों से पाकिस्तान में जो हमारे ऐसे हैंडीक्राफ्ट मैन्युफैक्चरर्स हैं जो बिल्कुल एक वो कॉटेज इंडस्ट्री टाइप है, उनकी प्रोडक्ट्स हम मंगवा लें और वहाँ डिस्प्ले कर दें, और फिर वो वही होगा कि दिल हैव टू कीप अ स्टॉक ऑफ दैट. वो जो होगी अगर कोई बिकेगी नेक्स्ट टाइम में भी चेंज हो जाए, उसमें वो स्टैंडर्डाइजेशन वाली, क्योंकि उसमें फिर वो आपकी क्वांटिटी भी इतनी ज़्यादा नहीं बिक रही होगी शायद, लेकिन ये कि रिप्रेजेंटेशन हो जाएगी या इनको ये सपोर्ट मिल जाएगी कम से कम इनकी चीज़ बिक जाए. तो वो उसमें आप कनेक्ट करा दें, हमें थोड़ा सा प्रोडक्ट्स के बारे में डिटेल मिल जाए. सो वील कंसिडर दैट फॉर दैट. वो जब वो मेरा वो पाकिस्तान डिस्प्ले का मॉडल किसी हद तक बन जाएगा तो आप सबको इन्फॉर्म कर देंगे उसके बारे में, ताकि आप कोई भी अपनी चीज़ उसमें रखवाना चाहें तो यू आर मोस्ट वेलकम.
Yes, so the next question is by Mr. Adil Sabir. So I'll ask him. Mr. Adil?
I have a rather unstable connection.
Yes.
Unstable connection, perhaps. I'm not sure if my audio is going through.
We can hear you.
Adil, can you write your question? Can you write your question in chat?
I'm not sure if my audio is going through. I think that there is a wee bit of an internet connection problem on my getting through to you guys, or I can log in again.
We can actually hear you right now, so you can ask your question.
All right. Okay.
Yes.
Assalamu alaikum to everybody, and Jima Saab, Ahmed Bhai as well. I just wanted to bring to your attention that we are manufacturing what we call as Buddhist art, but we're doing it exclusively from pink salt. So this is something which we've been working on over the last couple of years, and we've managed to refine our art form. We have taken on people from, in fact, Texla, those guys who are from the cottage industry of making statues. So I just wanted to know, is there any limitation, or would you know of any limitation of producing specifically Buddhist art in terms of statues, figurines, and sculpture, and whether or not there would be something that perhaps we could be facilitated with if there were any objections from the art form of that kind.
Adil, off the cuff, I'm not sure if there is any, but I can check with their relevant ministries and I can get back to you on that. Yes.
Yes, sir. So next we have Indus Civilization. So I'll ask them to please ask their question.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for giving me the chance to speak up. I'm very much thankful to Cheema Saab, all the senior members of the association. So this is Sanam Habibullah Kaburu from Indus Civilization. As I was just waiting for my turn so that the conversation could come to that level that I can put up my question regarding this Indus Civilization thing. Sir, I have been, reading the market about the Ajraks and all these things because my company, Indus Civilization, is a registered company, and I'm working with Ajraks and stones and natural dyes and the revival of this whole Indus Civilization concept. So regarding that, I have seen that our biggest competitive is India, because recently I have seen that Indians are promoting Ajrak as well as an Indian Ajrak, and their Indians Ajrak saris, their Ajrak, all these things are so much into market before that we could launch it. I'm not talking about myself, I'm talking about all those entrepreneurs and the senior people who are into business. Before they could reach the market, already Ajrak is there. And a lot of, we can say, these social media tools that we are using, the Ajrak is already there as Indian Ajrak, because we cannot deny the fact that, we share the same history. Like, we are very much late in promoting our own culture and our own products, that we might think that before we will try to reach the market. Right now, even we talk about Indus Civilization, we have not exported into China or Japan as well. So like about these release and all these things, I fear that even if we will put up something there already, it will be in the cheaper price by the Indian sellers. So I need your suggestions that, how we can, promote things there. And already the packaging and the proper marketing is a bigger challenge, that things could be in the market and the buyers could actually like them and get them. We need a lot of, help and training from people like you to help us out to compete and then get our product sold in the market. And we will be looking forward to all these exhibitions that would be, helpful for us, so that we can physically go there, or we can send our products there. We are already ready for this, that we can share our products and we can send our products to be present in all these markets there, where the buyers can actually come and see and feel the difference. And we can own our own culture and heritage. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much, madam. First of all, it's your brand name looks very interesting, and as I was mentioning before, that people in Japan know about Indus Valley, so it's a good pitch. Number two, that what I can suggest. I'm sorry if I offend you in any way, is that just don't let unfounded fears keep you thinking about the things that you have not experienced yet. Don't think that if Indian Ajrak is there in a market, so that is going to make your Ajrak maybe inferior, or there is a cheaper Ajrak available for people from India. So let me tell you that in international market, how it works is that if you have a product which has a quality, which has a price worth that quality, and then you can sustain a standardized supply of the product. You find your product will find a market. So that's not an issue. So don't, I would request all of my colleagues, I would say, because in future you will be my colleagues if we are going to work for Japan together. So just don't let unfounded fears keep you away from entering this market. This is an amazing market. Let me tell you, in the last 2 days, I was traveling for with few companies. I have been trying to talk for the last 5 months. I was just pushing them to buy something from Pakistan. These are like those $1, 100 yen shop type people. And finally, after 5 months, their board of directors gave me this opportunity to present at their annual meeting, which I did day before yesterday. And I'm so happy to share that yesterday we got at least order for 2 of our products from them. So which are, even though those will be like, again, I would say like 40 rupee or 50 rupee product, but their order quantity will be in like hundreds of thousands and then later millions if we sustain the quality of supply. So there is a market for every product. Just those things shouldn't happen. Like when I started, like newspaper pasted on furniture, or fruit crate wood used in your exportable furniture. So you just have to make sure that such things don't happen. Then our support will be with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So we do have a lot more questions, but we've run out of time for our webinar. So, sir, with your permission, can I wrap this up now?
Thank you so much, Amit. Please do.
Okay, sir. So I would formally like to thank our Trade Investment Counselor, Sir Tahir Chima, for his very insightful insights in the Japanese market. And we've had a very productive question and answer session. And the fact that we still have a lot more questions shows that, you know, we do have a very curious audience here who are serious exporters, and they really benefited from, sir, your very valuable insights in the Japanese market. Sir, I thank you with profound gratitude. I would also like to thank the Handicraft Association of Pakistan for their continued support in this webinar series and bringing on board all of these suppliers. So thank you to the Handicraft Association of Pakistan as well, in particular Ms. Halima Osman, Mr. Fahad Barlas. I would also like to thank the participants for making this session very interactive and, you know, to putting forward their questions. And we would have a second round of matchmaking webinar in which buyers from the Japanese market, we would request Mr. Tahir Chima to bring buyers in that, so that we can have actual B2B meetings and we can have a very productive session there as well. So for that, I would request all of our participants to please share their product catalogs so that that matchmaking exercise can be made more productive. So again, sir, thank you very much for taking out your time, and it was a really productive session.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.